Javazons have always been a dominant build in the game, thanks to their lightning-based skills that offer exceptional crowd control and high single target damage. Among these, Charge Strike stands out as one of the most devastating boss killer skills in the game. Its damage potential is immense, capable of melting bosses even on player's aid with shocking speed. With the release of patch 2.4, a significant change was made that not only unlocked a brand new build, but also pushed the potential of the Charge Strike even further. The update allowed the Infinity rune word to be created in Spears, making it usable directly by Amazons instead of relying on a Mercenary. A self-wielding Infinity Amazon can now take full advantage of one of the strongest modifiers in the game, which combined with the Conviction Aura drastically increases the lightning damage output. In this guide we'll dive into the details of this build, exploring how the Amazon benefits from this change and taking a closer look at how monster resistances and immunities are affected. So without further ado, let's break it all down and see what makes this build shine. We will respec a high-leveled Amazon and build her from scratch together. Starting with the Spear tree, our primary single target skill will be Charge Strike, which as already mentioned is one of the most devastating skills in the entire game. This will be our go-to for bosses and bulky uniques. Thanks to its overwhelming damage, even monsters with high resistances, especially those whose lightning immunity has been broken, won't be able to withstand it. For crowd control, we finally get to use a new skill that has long been overshadowed by Lightning Fury. Lightning Fury is a powerful and certainly spectacular skill, but it requires a javelin, so instead we will be using Lightning Strike, which is an excellent and fresh replacement. Finally, we have two more lightning skills to max due to their synergies to increase the damage of our main skills. The remaining points will be invested in the passive and magic tree. Even though this build is focused on elemental damage, putting 1 point into critical strike is still useful as it can help with life and mana leech when it triggers. Penetrate is unnecessary since the Amazon lightning based skills always hit, allowing this melee build to completely bypass one of the biggest challenges for most melee characters. Pierce is also irrelevant as it has no effect on the skills we'll be using. Dodge, Evade and Avoid are all excellent 1-point wonders. With the plus skills from the gear, they can reach levels where nearly half of incoming attacks miss entirely. Even better, these defensive skills also work against spells, making them incredibly powerful at higher levels. A single point in Decoy can be valuable, serving as a reliable distraction tool. As for Valkyrie, she's slow, deals little damage and only becomes useful as a mid shield if you heavily invest skill points, something Decoy can already do with just 1 point. However, we are really left out of choices, so investing into Valkyrie may be a good option, because even though this build can dish out some of the heaviest damage in the entire game, the Amazon lacks strong defensive attributes and can easily be surrounded and killed. That's why summoning a Valkyrie is highly recommended as a reliable tank in destruction. Regarding stats, as usual, put enough strength and dexterity to equip your gear, then allocate the rest of your points into vitality. But before assigning any points, don't forget to account for the stats provided by items like Torch and Annie, which can reduce the amount of points you need to invest. Also, start by equipping the least demanding items one by one, so you can take advantage of the stats provided by them. Regarding the gear, the damage output this Amazon can deliver is so huge that you can afford to skip some offensive options and instead invest in other areas, like maximizing your resistances and increasing your faster run walk, because especially this time we will be missing Enigma. Starting with the weapon, our choice is none other than Infinity. The reason Infinity becomes incredibly powerful when self-wielded is due to its massive -2 enemy lightning resistance modifier. This modifier applies only to the character holding the weapon, so when a mercenary wields it, the effect applies only to them, which means it's basically wasted. Now that we can wield the Infinity in a spear, we unlock the full potential. Both the Conviction Aura and the devastating attribute apply directly to our attacks, and the result is a colossal damage boost. The fact that Infinity brings such a massive reduction is exactly why it's so devastating, and why more and more players are experimenting with self-wielding Infinity on lightning-based characters. The benefit is simply too good to pass up. Since Infinity is a rune word, the next important question to answer is the weapon base, and one of the most critical factors for considering the base is the attack speed. Unlike other breakpoints like faster cast rate or faster hit recovery, which are fixed values and easy to check, attack speed is more complex, and for this reason we will need an attack speed calculator to determine which attack speed breakpoint is feasible to hit. When it comes to Amazons, she has two weapon bases, Spears and Pikes. All versions of Spears, Normal, Exceptional and Elite have the same base attack speed, while Pikes become slower in their Exceptional and Elite versions. Long story short, Spears are faster, but Pikes hit harder. Since we are dealing primarily with elemental damage, there's no need to prioritize physical damage over attack speed. For that reason, using an Elite base isn't necessary either, as the stats requirements are significantly higher. Saving points in strength and dexterity allow us to invest more into vitality, which directly improves survivability. With that in mind, you could even use a normal base. However, since Torch and Annie already provide a good boost to stats, it would be a missed opportunity not to aim for at least an exceptional version. That said, if you prefer to get the highest possible physical damage for mainly better leech, you can absolutely go for an elite base, but which is the best base would slightly depend on personal preference and playstyle. Personally, I choose Spear over the Pike for the faster attack speed, and I prefer the elite version because I'm not going to rely on a Sunder charm, so even though I will still avoid immunes, I would like to have some physical damage as backup, but mainly I want to hit hard and leech as much as possible to minimize mana issues. To summarize everything around the weapon, we want to self-wield Infinity instead of relying on a Mercenary to take advantage of the massive minus lightning resistance modifier. Our Affinity base is an Amazon weapon with +3 to Javelin and Spears. We prefer Spear over Pike due to the faster attack speed frames. Since we are dealing primarily with elemental damage, we don't need to prioritize physical damage, so an exceptional version is also a viable option. Lastly, keep in mind that Infinity is an expensive rune word and can be utilized by many characters, so making it in an Amazon base is limiting its versatility. If you want to build the best version of a Lightning Spearzon, this is the best option though. Griffon's Eye is as always the ultimate helmet for lightning based builds. It adds massive lightning damage potential, but most importantly the negative lightning modifier works wonders with Infinity. Plus it can be socketed with whatever you're missing, truly a must have power item. Enigma is usually unmatched for farming efficiency, however if you're not aiming for perfectly timed runs and want to use the character at full potential, Chains of Honor covers the gaps better, mainly thanks to its massive boost to resistances that Enigma lacks. The +2 to all skills, damage reduced and lifesteal are all fantastic bonuses. Additionally, let's not forget that Amazon has awful faster cast rate breakpoints, and using enough faster cast rate gear for convenient teleports would force compromises elsewhere, which could limit the power of this build. Instead, we'll focus on faster run walk to make up for the lack of teleport. While gloves usually aren't significant for other characters, they can be game changing for an Amazon. +2 to Javelin and Spears, 20% increased attack speed, and other useful mods like Life Leech or Resistances make gloves one of the most important pieces of equipment, so always pick up rare gloves. You can craft some godly gloves, but these are extremely rare. For the build, we're using Nosferatu's Coil, primarily for the 10% increased attack speed. On top of that, it provides solid all-around attributes. Boots are mainly for filling gaps in resistances, but also the easiest way to get some faster run walk. Natalia's Soul is a solid choice for both the maximum 40% faster run walk boots can provide and the dual resistances. For the rings, a Raven Frost for the Cannot Be Frozen is mandatory, while a rare ring with dual leech and resistances can help cover some gaps. Cat's Eye is perfect for granting the final attack speed bonus needed to hit the next breakpoint, while also adding extra faster run walk. Faster run walk is important, and the reason why we prefer it over the High Lord's Wrath. For swapping, the usual combo Hoto with the Spirit Shield is all that we need. Fill your inventory with as many skillers as you want, preferably ones that also grant faster run walk. Fill the remaining slots with small charms that cover any missing resistances, ideally paired with additional faster run walk. Our setup has maxed resistances, a decent attack speed breakpoint, a massive minus to enemy lightning resistance, and a reasonable faster run walk. Now the big question is, do we really need a Lightning Sunder charm? Before answering that, it's important to understand how all the lightning modifiers we have work, and then re-evaluate whether a Lightning Sunder charm is necessary. This is a complex topic that could take a lot of time to fully explore, so we'll keep it as simple as possible here. Negative lightning resistance modifiers do not work at all against immune monsters. However, Conviction applies to all monsters, but it behaves differently when it targets an immune element and when not. For monsters that aren't immune to an element, Conviction reduces their resistances by its full value, but for monsters that are immune to an element, Conviction only works at 1/5 effectiveness to that element. So if a monster has 110% lightning resistance, Conviction will only reduce 17 points, lowering the resistance to 93%. This means the monster is no longer immune, but still quite durable, as its resistance is still quite high. Now, even though your negative resistance modifiers like Infinities and Griffon's Eye minus to enemy lightning resistance do not work against immunities, they kick in at full effectiveness once the immunity is broken, making the combination of Infinity and negative modifiers truly unmatchable. So long story short, the massive minus value we have to enemy lightning resistance is exactly what a lightning charm needs to perform at its best. If you want to farm any area without absolutely worrying about immunities at all, then yes, Sunder charm will do the trick. However, most lightning immune regular monsters are breakable by Infinity alone. There are really barely any monsters that their lightning immunity can't be broken, making the lightning Sunder charm somewhat debatable, as its true value would lie only against uniques. Personally, I still find the Sunder charm not worth the investment, so I will leave it out. Had it been exactly the same scenario for another element like fire, where fire immunities are almost unbreakable and dominate the game, I would definitely go for it. Now for the Mercenary we have a few options. An Act 2 prayer Mercenary with Insight and Cure combo has become a classic choice for keeping your mana full and your life regenerating, a solid and affordable option. An Act 5 dual wield Mercenary with Plug can cast lower resist, significantly boosting your lightning damage. It's an expensive option but the most damage focused choice. However, since we're not liking damage or struggling with health or mana, my favorite option is an Act 1 called Hireling with Harmony Runeward. This Runeward grants Vigor, which combined with all the faster run walk from our gear makes it extremely effective for covering long distances quickly and personally the most fun way to play. Now that our Amazon is complete, we can quickly clear some areas to check her power directly at players 8 since players 1 is pretty much trivial. As you can see, the monsters cannot withstand at all the lightning damage. Lightning Strike is excellent for crowd control, while Charge Strike is ready to be used whenever you face single bulky targets. But more importantly, let's take a look at how we perform against lightning immunities. And this is quite shocking, even at players 8 not even lightning immunities can withstand the power of this Amazon, without even a Sunder charm. One more thing I would like to point out is how much safety our resistances provide. Without them, Burning Souls would have deleted us in seconds. The fact that we can tank damage from Burning Souls and still bring them down effortlessly with lightning damage, that's just a piece of art.
This is art!
We've run into another perfect example here, where the only lightning immunities we face are mostly unique monsters, and even then our physical damage is enough to handle them at players 8. Bal's waves are also easy manageable, and even Bal himself at players 8, who has tons of health, goes down fairly quickly.
I can't carry anymore. I am overburdened.
For too long, Lightning Strike has sat in the shadows of more meta builds and rarely given the spotlight it deserves. With Infinity in hand, that changes, making Lightning Strike one of our main skills to use and absolutely tear through hordes of enemies with ease. A powerful and refreshing skill to use. Meanwhile, Charge Strike, already known for its boss shredding potential, becomes a god tier single target nuke, melting anything it touches. With the right setup, Infinity Amazon becomes a versatile powerhouse capable of handling dense packs, high health targets and even broken immunities with ease.